Hi, I'm Jeff Ludy, the owner of Houston Window Experts, and today I want to talk to you about why do replacement windows cost so much? Is it right? It seems like maybe the quote I got from my window dealer seemed higher than what I thought it was going to be. And it's a common question. We hear it all the time. I thought this would be a great time to address that and to answer that for you. So if you go to Home Depot or you go to Lowe's, you go by a lumber yard, you go by someplace, you're going to see a window on a shelf. It's going to say it's 35.5 inches by 59.5 inches, a typical size window, and it's going to be a whole lot less money than if you called a window company to come out to your house and to quote that same window for you. And the question is why? I get people all the time right here in Houston that ask that question. I get people from around the country, around the world who say, Jeff, I got a quote for windows. Do you mind if I share it with you? Would you please take a look at it and see if I'm being treated fair or if somebody's trying to gouge me and rip me off? The first thing I should tell you is that even if you went to the big box store, if you notice, they'll have an option too that says, we can install this for you. And if you had them come out and talk about installing it, you would see that probably the pricing you're seeing from companies like mine is probably pretty fair and competitive to what even those guys would be charging you. So there's got to be a reason. There's a difference as to why seeing a window on a shelf somewhere costs less than having a window installed. And I get it. You're saying, well, Jeff, of course it costs more. There's labor involved. No, not just that. The window itself and other things can also affect what you're going to pay for a quality replacement window on your home. So let's cover just a few of those because I want you to understand what's going on. When window companies have a short week, let's say they work 4 days, they don't want to send their guys home for that 5th day because those guys might quit. They might say, I can't survive on 32 hours a week. I need 40 hours a week. So the window companies, most window companies have what's called a stock size window program, meaning when we have a day where we don't have much to do, instead of sending everyone home, we're going to make stock sizes, standard sizes, sizes that you would just normally see on a shelf like at a big box store, things that are very commonly used when it comes to new construction. That's very efficient for the window maker because instead of stopping and making every window to exact sizes, they can prep the line and say, today we're going to make a whole bunch of 35.5 by 59.5 single hung or double hung windows, and we know those are going to be used somewhere across the country in the next 6 weeks. So they can work and be efficient doing that. Now, when you order a window specifically for your house, it's not going to be that 35.5 by 59.5 anymore. In fact, 35.5 by 59.5 being a standard size or a stock size is what it was before there was brick put up to the edge of the window, or before stucco was put in place, or before the siding was put in place, before there was settling of their house, before things had changed in some way. You could have used a standard size window, but now you can't. Window companies typically are going to charge about a 20% upcharge anytime you don't get a standard size window. Now, I don't mean a custom window because all windows are pretty much made to order when it comes to replacement. And the word custom, sometimes people automatically think it's something very unique. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that the production line has to make alterations, slight as they may be, but it's not going to accommodate the efficiency as it would when they're making mass production standard sizes windows. So you're going to need a different size. Now, if we go out to your house and we measure your windows, and across the front of your house, let's say you have 4 windows that are exactly the same size, they're not the same size anymore. You should see our measure sheets that Jeremy creates when he measures. One might be 35.25, the other might be 35.3/8, one might be 35.7/8. I mean, there's these variables because we want the window to fit right. So standard size windows are going to cost less because they don't have to be made to your specific size. And if you want it done right, you want it made at least to the 1/8 inch increment so that it fits just like it should. And that's going to make you a much happier homeowner when you buy new windows. The difference too between the stuff you see like at big box stores and from an installer like us is that the glass is typically either A, it's not as good of a glass package, but it might be, or B, they're going to be using thinner glass. It's about cost, remember? It's about cost for these guys. So you can get a single strength glass as standard in most window companies' product lines, but when we or someone like us orders a window for you, we're going to be using a minimum of double strength glass instead of single strength glass. Why do we do that? Well, glass is glass and glass is going to break. So it's not like if we get double strength glass, it will never break. But we like double strength glass because double strength glass is going to stand up better to things that are going to hit it, right? Like kids playing with a basketball. And we got a great video about what does it take to break a window. You should check that out, right? It took a baseball and a guy with some real muscle to break this window we broke. It's a great video. But you've got life. Life's happening outside of that big box store. Life's happening once you put that window inside your house. And the fact that you have things that could possibly break that window, we think it always makes sense to have nothing less than a double strength piece of glass instead of a single strength. When you do double strength glass, you're going to pay more for double strength glass. In most cases, it's possibly twice as thick, maybe 3 times as thick. Also, you have to remember that the installation is so much easier when you're just putting in a standard size window. Why? Because if you have a window and it's a standard size and you go to a house and it just has these new construction framing around it, you're just going to slap it in and you're going to nail it up and you're going to keep going. Now, this is where I want to explain something to you because some people probably think watching this video, oh, the difference between a standard size window and a non-standard size window is just that one has a nailing fin and the other one doesn't. Well, that is not true. Let me show you the example here. This is a standard size window with a nailing fin, okay? This nailing fin sits up against the studs in the house when the house is being built, and then it gets nailed on and they put caulking and they put some flashing around it. Now, if you had brick right here, this won't work anymore. So we have the nailing fin removed at the manufacturer, and they charge a little bit for it, but not much. And then you get something like this. See, this will not interfere now with the brick on the house. Now, I want you to notice something. You can probably see it, there's a little line right here. That little line is where the nailing fin used to be before the tool that they use removed it. But that's not the difference between why one costs more and one costs less. It's not the nailing fin. But this is much easier to install. This is much more difficult to install. Why is this more difficult? Well, first of all, you got to take a window out. This thing that you see sitting on the shelf, you don't have to take a window out. There's nothing there. Also, on a new construction job site, they're going to have scaffolding set up. They're going to have dumpsters involved. They're not going to be dealing with a house full of furniture. So taking the window out takes time. Getting it out requires skill set. You know, anybody could pull a window out, but can you pull it out without damaging brick, without damaging stucco, without damaging the inside of the home, without damaging the flower beds? These things take time. When you're using high quality skilled craftsmen like we use, you're going to pay them more and it's going to take longer. So the overall project is going to cost more than if you just went to a store and bought a window. You know, I like to use this analogy because I used to own a restaurant. I was in the restaurant business for 12 years and had a very beautiful, wonderful restaurant. In the restaurant business, there's a lot more that goes into cooking a meal than just the cost of the food alone. If you go to your local grocery store, here we have H-E-B's and others, but H-E-B here has a great meat selection. They have prime, they have, they call it the grass-fed, the stuff you can get from Nebraska. They have the Wagyu beef. You know, I can buy a steak at H-E-B, and you can at your grocery store, for let's say $15 to $20 a pound. Maybe even a real good one for $30 a pound, right? That same steak that just cost you 20 bucks, say for a 1 pound steak, if you went to a nice high-end, beautiful restaurant and order that same steak, it's going to be $50, maybe $60. It depends on the steak, right? And depends on the chef. That's my point. Who's doing the cooking? Now at home, if you get that steak wrong or you drop it, God forbid you drop it I've done that, between the grill and the table, guess what? You can't blame the restaurant. You can't blame the chef. You're not getting another one. It's yours. You're stuck with it. If you overcook it, you're going to tell your spouse, oh, it wasn't me. It was the Wi-Fi quit on the Traeger, and I'm not sure what's up with those pellets, and I was doing real good, and then at the end it all fell apart. Well, there's no excuses when it comes to hiring someone to do this work. If we get it wrong, we get it wrong. You know, workman's comp insurance for our labor is 19%. There's guys standing on scaffolding, standing on ladders, carrying huge pieces of glass up onto 3rd and 4th story homes. This takes skill. This takes time. This costs money. So it's not just about who's doing it and how they're doing it. It's about all of those things. And we have to send people out to your house to measure. If you go to a big box store and you pick up a window and you got it wrong size, it's the wrong size. What do they care? You break one, come back and get another one. With customized windows like this, there's a whole lot more that goes into it than just the price of the window. So, Jeff, the question I have for you is this. Can a job be done with standard sizes? And the answer is yes, it can. And it can be done with big box stuff. In fact, there's a company, you've probably seen their billboards or their printed material that advertises $239 windows. Well, the truth is they're not $239. I've seen their final invoices. They're closer to $500 on average. But what they're doing is they step the window down to the next smallest standard size. I can tell by look at these pictures. Look, they make the window too small, then they just trim it out to save money. It's faster to put in a window that's tiny than to put in a window that fits right, that fits tight, that actually completes the whole opening. And this is what you get when you're done. This is how it looks. It's not good, it's not pretty, and it doesn't work very well. A lot of those companies are using single strength glass. They use the salesperson to take the measurements. I mean, we just talked about skill set and craftsmanship. They're having a salesperson measure the windows, and then they're using subcontracted, what we call smash and dash crews, where they literally come out, smash the glass out. For months, you'll find glass all over your house. To remove the windows, to put in the new one, they do it fast. They're in, they're out, and it saves them money, which means it saves you money. So, Jeff, what are you saying? I'm going to get what I pay for? Absolutely. You're going to get what you pay for. My grandpa was right. There's no free lunch. If you want a really good quality project, it's going to cost more money. Now, how much, Jeff? Let me give you kind of a rule of thumb, at least in our market. Now, if you live in California or Manhattan, this may not pertain to you. But in our market, for a really good quality premium vinyl product, you can expect to pay somewhere between 5 and 8% of whatever your house costs. So I'm going to use an easy number. $1 million house with vinyl windows will cost you $50 to $60, $70, maybe as much as $80,000. Depends on the vinyl window and how many windows you have in your house. If you elect a more premium product like a wood window or a window with SDL grids, we have a video about grids, you can watch that, or a window that maybe has a multi-panel sliding door or something along those lines, it's not unusual to spend between 10 and 15% of the value of your home. If you live in a really nice house, you're in a nice zip code, if you have a $10 million house, it's going to cost you between $1 million and $1.5 million to do your windows and to do them right. You live in a $300,000 house with vinyl windows, you're going to spend somewhere around $15,000 to $20,000. That's going to be the norm. I hope I've answered your questions. I'm so glad you're watching. Don't forget to subscribe. If you live in the Houston area, give us a call. We'd love to come out and take a look at your project and see if we can be of help. Have a great day. We'll talk again soon.